Implementing and reporting indicators for the dairy sustainability framework. I'm Dr. Marty Matlock. The DSF approach is to provide common indicators across 11 global criteria identified by members. The purpose of the indicators is to provide membership of DSF with a common strategy for reporting each of the 5 priority global criteria developed in 2017, as well as the 2 developed in 2016, and the remainders that will be developed in 2018. This is a common, transparent process. The improvement processes within each indicator are the responsibility and authority of national, regional, and/or enterprise organizations, not DSF. The role of developing strategic goals and implementation processes and reporting processes belongs to the national, regional, enterprise level organizations. What we're providing are minimum requirements for each indicator. This is a global initiative, and so we have to have common implementation indicators across small-scale developing economy dairies as well as large-scale developed economy dairies. In 2016, greenhouse gas emissions and animal care indicators were developed for global criteria. In 2017, soil nutrients, soil quality, water, soil biodiversity, water and working conditions have been developed. And finally, next year, 2018, we will develop indicators for waste, market development, rural economies, product safety, and quality, using the same transparent framework for draft, comment, review, revision, and implementation. The aspirational goals for each of the global criteria are implied or defined in the strategic intents. Strategic, tactical, and operational goals belong to the national, regional, enterprise sustainability initiatives. The purpose of this exercise is not to develop strategic, tactical, and operational goals for global dairy. That is not the purview of DSF. The 5 global indicators developed in 2017 included soil nutrients, soil quality and retention, water availability and quality, biodiversity, and working conditions. The documentation for review are found at the website indicated on the slide, dsfglobalcriteria.org. This website includes slides, the slide deck, as well as summary documents for each of the reporting guidelines for each of the 5 indicators for the global criteria. Comments can be made on that webpage either within each of the individual criteria or in common, in total, with multiple vehicles, either by email directly on the website or with a document that can be physically mailed to DSF. Now, definitions matter. The criteria defined by DSF have very specific meanings. If a farmer, producer, processor, distributor, or other supply chain representative chooses to prioritize the DSF criteria, then they have to adopt the criteria that are defined as they are defined. Otherwise, they're not choosing to prioritize that criteria. They may be you would characterize it as something other than the DSF criteria. This is critical for legitimacy of this effort, internally and externally. These documents, these reporting documents, reporting guidelines are definitional. They describe the minimum elements necessary for a DSF member to claim implementation. They are not prescriptive. They do not prescribe practices to the farmer. They prescribe elements that are necessary for planning or implementation and reporting for the enterprise. Shall and must, as used in the global criteria for these implementation guides, are requirements. Should are recommendations for the global criteria, goals for improvement, but not requirements. We'll go over one example to illustrate the framework that you'll see when you go to the web page. Global criteria for soil nutrients includes the strategic intent and the indicator. You notice they align, that the indicator supports the strategic intent, which is the aspirational goal for the global criteria. It defines what is good, what is better, directionally correct. We also provide a theory of change. In this case, a well-developed nutrient management plan will achieve the goals indicated in the indicator and the strategic intent by reducing nutrient runoff and air pollution while improving soil quality through proper nutrient application. Written procedures and record keeping will help ensure that agricultural producers are making the best daily and seasonal decisions to drive this outcome. Now, each of the summary guidelines also include a list of the minimum requirements. A nutrient management plan shall include, that is required to include the following minimum elements. 1. A field scale nutrient management strategy that demonstrates fertilizer application rates do not exceed agronomic demand rates over a 2-year production cycle. 2. Adequate manure storage capacity for the operation plus storage for a runoff from a 10-year rainfall event. That's pretty standard. A 10-year rainfall event is adequate for what would be defined as an unusually large rainfall event, but not an extreme rainfall event. A farm site map with specific conservation practices like cover crops, buffer strips, etc., to keep nutrient runoff out of surface waters. That's a minimum criteria, minimum element. Protocols for manure and soil testing for nutrients, NP&K, pH, others perhaps, including frequency of testing, number of samples, and units of analysis. Nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and potassium are required. Those are the minimum elements. Others, like pH, like conductivity, like salt content, like bulk density, should be measured as well. Protocols for recording management and reporting on an annual basis to characterize improvements and changes of soil nutrients should be included. And we provide the same set of descriptors for soil quality and retention with the required elements of the plan. Water availability and quality with the theory of change, then the required elements. In this case, with water quality, we have an effluent management plan as well as a water use efficiency strategy. For biodiversity, similar layout with the minimum elements for a biodiversity plan. And working conditions. The farm facility safety plan must include the following minimum elements. Now, if you have multiple facilities, multiple farms and multiple facilities, you must have a plan for each of those. A plan for each farm and each facility. These are location-specific plans. These are not generic, broad brush plans that cover the entire enterprise. Those are important at some level, but they don't drive decisions on the ground because those generally sit on a shelf. We need plans that are implemented on the ground, and that means specific to the operation, to each operation. Please go to the dsfglobalcriteria.org website, download the reporting guidelines, the slide deck, email if you have any questions, reach out to Philippa or Brian if you have any questions, or you can reach out to me. And we have the schedule is also posted on the website, so please review the schedule for both the membership comments and the public comments that will be following. And please stay engaged. It's going to be very busy over the next 60 to 90 days, so please stay very engaged so that we can have a very successful rollout of these reporting guidelines. Thank you.